Hello friends, welcome to my channel. I would be very happy if you subscribe and like and support me. Have a good time.
This is the completely new 2023 Mazda CX-50. Mazda has been in the SUV game for a long time, and they've built some really good ones over the years, most notably the CX-9 and the CX-5. But they've never built an SUV that, at least in theory, was any good off-road, until this guy. The question is it any good? Let's find out. I've already mentioned the Mazda CX-5, and there was a time when that was the SUV to beat. I remember a decade ago when it came out, it just blew us away because we'd never driven a small SUV that handled like that. However, time has marched on and the CX-5 hasn't. This segment has matured. Buyers are looking for more capability, more power, and most importantly, more size. What does it compete against? The obvious one is the Subaru Outback. You might be thinking Forester, but size-wise, this is closer to the Outback. You've also got the Toyota RAV4, the Nissan Rogue, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw in the Honda Passport. As far as the looks go, this is a pretty normal interpretation of Mazda's current design language. Simple, yet handsome. Big old grille because, of course, why not? One weird thing, see this like black smile, like this under smile here? Looks nice from the front. From this side here, these pieces, they look like 70s safety bumpers, or like, you know, big black fangs sticking out of the side of the thing. Not bad, just kind of odd. Good looking headlights come down the side, and of course these humongous plastic fenders here that catch your eye. That's to make it look like you can go off-road. Typical Mazda issue, cheap looking wheels, but nice paint. It's always the case. Good side profile. I really like how this thing looks from the side, especially how the hips kind of flare out here. It makes it look really strong and powerful, even if you don't get the powerful engine. From the back, it's classic Mazda. I like the twin pipes. Trailer hitch is a nice touch. You know, if you're gonna critique this thing, you might say, well, it's kind of generic, and yeah, okay, a little bit, but it's still good looking. So overall, I think the design team has done a nice job. The inside of the CX-50 is basically the same story as the outside. It's pretty simple, but it's also pretty good looking. A couple of little things to nitpick. On the positive side, look at this nice piece of leather here with this cross stitching, and it carries over to the doors. That's really cool. Overall, it's a pretty good design. This is the first Mazda to ever have drive modes, believe it or not. Mazda's always said, nope, cars just handle well, that's all there is to it. But I think because this thing is intended to be an off-roader, there is an off-road mode, so that's something to note. This screen is interesting. It's actually a really nice looking screen. The graphics are really lush and it's good. It's not a touchscreen. It's kind of one of the last ones on the market that's not a touchscreen. So if you want to, you know, enter an address, you got to do it via this BMW style iDrive wheel thing, and oh boy, it's a pain. As far as the car itself goes, it's a large vehicle. It's pretty comfortable up here. Great seats. Back seat's pretty good. If you get a sunroof, though, it does intrude a little bit on the headroom. And of course, it's a big vehicle. You can haul a lot of stuff, especially if you put the seats down. Overall, pretty good interior, few spots where it could be a little bit better. As far as performance goes, strap in because there is a lot to unpack here. This particular CX-50 is the turbo premium all-wheel drive. That means there's a non-turbo version. Don't think about that one. That engine is just too slow for a vehicle this big. However, under this hood sits a turbocharged 2.5-liter inline 4-cylinder engine that makes 256 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque. Those are great numbers. Unless you're a cheapskate and you won't shell out for high-octane fuel, if you put in regular 87 octane, the engine only makes 227 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. Sadly, all that power has to go through Mazda's ancient 6-speed automatic transmission. What's wrong with the 6-speed? Fuel efficiency. As far as actual performance goes, it's really good. It's shocking how much better this drives than the rest of the competition. It's a Mazda, they care about that. This is a real driver's car. The trade-off is the ride quality, it's not so great. And also, if you're just like on the freeway trying to go straight, because it has such sharp steering, it's pretty busy. You really have to be on it. And there's no lane centering available. So you really are always holding the steering wheel in focus. Some people, like Mazda, they're gonna say, oh, that's great. That's how cars should be. A lot of people feel different. What about off-road? Very good off-road. It surprised us. It really is an off-roader, you know, as much as anything in this segment is. One thing though, it has a torsion beam rear suspension, which is inexpensive to build, but it's not as sophisticated of an off-roader as it could be, which is a shame, especially for a vehicle this size and at this price point. It can tow 3,500 pounds, which is good for this segment. And it's a light vehicle. It only weighs around 3,900 pounds, which should make it efficient, but because of that 6-speed transmission, it just isn't. Around town, you're gonna get 23 miles per gallon, and on the highway, 29 mpgs. I do know it has some standard active safety features, which will help keep you away from an accident. Stuff like front and rear automatic emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, and rear cross-traffic alert. How much? Okay, you can get into a non-turbo front-wheel drive CX-50 for $28,025. But like I said, you don't want to be in one of these that doesn't have a turbocharger. There are 9 trim levels to choose from, so you know the price spread is all over the place. The cheapest you can get into a turbocharged CX-50 for is $37,625. This particular one, which is fully spec'd and then has 1 or 2 options, this one's over 43 grand. But how does the CX-50 stack up to the competition? Well, when we're talking about the $37,000 turbocharged version, pretty well that's what a Toyota RAV4 is going to cost you, an Outback Wilderness. When it gets to $43,000, the only thing really that's left of the initial competitors we talked about is that Honda Passport, the Trail Sport version. But here's the thing, Mazda, they're trying to reimagine themselves, rebrand themselves as a more upscale, premium, entry-level luxury type of company. And one of the ways they're doing that is their cars have better handling than the competition. So if you want an SUV like this that handles like this, you got to pay for it. If there's one thing that I want you to know about the 2023 Mazda CX-50, it's that we like it. You know, Mazda for a while, they've been trying to remake themselves into this upscale brand. Strong design, nice interiors, and cars that are really wonderful to drive. And these are things that car enthusiasts care about, and traditionally they've been willing to pay more for. However, I think when you put it in an SUV form and give it the ability to go off-road, well, you're really onto something. To see vehicle rankings and a complete buyer's guide, please visit motortrend.com/cars.